Hey everyone, welcome back to the What Mariel Made podcast. Hey everybody, my name's Mariel. I'm a knitter and a maker based up in Northern California, where I live with my husband and our dog Wally, who's sleeping in his crate right next to me, so please excuse him if you hear him bark. It's been a minute. I'm so sorry. It's been many weeks since I've filmed. Life just got busy, as everyone says, for different reasons. Work was kind of crazy for a little bit. Had some people visiting from out of town, just a bunch of things. That just didn't feel like filming, but I wanted to film and sit down with y'all before kind of a lot of more holidays come. At least for us in the U.S., we have Thanksgiving next week and some more travel on my end, so I'll probably not be able to film too much more, that many more podcasts before year end. But yeah, I do have a lot I've been working on in the meantime. Lots of things I want to knit, a couple gift knits here and there. So we'll just get to everything. I have my notes over here. Oh, and before I get started, if you don't already follow me on Instagram and Ravelry, I'm at What Mariel Made on those platforms as well. And I have a lot. I update my projects on Ravelry with lots of details and update pretty often on Instagram as to what I'm making in real time as much as possible. But I get into the details a lot more in the podcast episode. So FYI, let's jump in with the first. Both of my FOs are socks. So I finally finished just my normal pair of vanilla socks, which are this yellow maize color for Michigan fans out there. I'm calling these my Maize Socks. We're in the peak of college football season. These are pretty standard vanilla sock construction for me if I'm going to do a heel flap and gusset. The yarn I used is on the Ravelry page, but it's just Cascade Heritage in butter, which is the tiny little cuff up here, 2x1 ribbed cuff, and then mustard is the main color. Yeah, I think it's pulling correctly, the color on camera. Maybe it's leaning a little more golden in the camera, but it is kind of, at least in this light right now, it's pulling a little more green, but I feel like it just depends on the light. So these will be cute. I am going to Michigan for the holidays because my husband's from Michigan, so we'll be packing these and wearing them, especially on game day. So that's my first pair of socks done. All of the stitch counts, the type of heel I do, the toe decreases, everything is listed in detail on my Ravelry page. My second finished object is still blocking, but they are my Handspun Socks. I finally finished these last night. I wanted to have them finished for y'all to show you. This one is blocked, even though it still looks kind of crinkly and wrinkly. This one is actively blocking and pretty wet still, but it's on its blocker. And yeah. Details for this. So because my handspun is kind of inconsistent in gauge, in its thickness and thinness, I initially thought to maybe follow a DK weight pattern for socks, at least in terms of the needles I used and everything. But I also realized the smallest long circulars I have with my normal interchangeable needle set only goes down to 3.5, and then after that it's DPNs that I have that go smaller, and then my chow goos that I use for normal fingering weight socks. So I actually just decided to use my 2.5 millimeter chow goos, which I normally use for regular fingering weight socks like these. But yeah, I just decided to use those needles still and cast on fewer stitches because this yarn is probably more leaning towards a solid sport weight, averaging as a sport weight. And so Yeah, the fabric is like really, really dense. I have a size 6 women's foot, US women's size 6, but my feet are pretty wide. And so, and in past DK weight socks I've made, I've cast on 48 stitches, but I was using a slightly larger needle. I think I was using like a 3.5 or a 3. Yeah, but that was with like a proper DK weight yarn. So I figured I could go lower and tighter on my gauge to make for like a hardier sock. So yeah, so that's what I did here. As you can tell, it's just a ribbed sock. So I started by doing a 2x2 rib just for the leg. And then I did a shadow wrap heel, my fave shadow wrap heel by Denise of Earth Tones Girl. And then I continued the ribbing onto the top of the foot and just kept normal stockinette on the bottom of the foot and then did toe decreases as I normally do. Some of the stitch counts are obviously like a little different because I was working with less stitches. Sorry, because I was working with a smaller stitch count than my normal like 66, 64. But again, all of those details are on Ravelry. These are very cozy, very hardy, and honestly, like, I don't know that I think I'll bring these to Michigan with me. These might be nice, like, slipper around the house slipper socks. But I think for the most part, I kind of just want to, like, keep these and display them eventually somewhere, like, on my wall or, yeah, somewhere in this, like, working space just to, like, commemorate my first fully hand-spun project. I also wanted to mention this finished object, which is not fiber related at all, but this puzzle, I took a solid like maybe like 3-day break from knitting because I got hyper fixated on finishing that puzzle. I got this puzzle, I will link it down below because the puzzle company came back. It like had gone out of business and then came back under a different name. Anyway, it is the New York Quilt puzzle. The like photo itself is of a quilt made by Mara Ambrose or Folk Fibers on Instagram, I think. I just from the moment I saw the like puzzle, I was like, "Oh, I need to make that and hang it up on my wall." And so I started it like over a year ago and just didn't touch it because I just didn't have the focus. I got 2 of these and I gave one to my sister who lives up in the city, and she had like finally finished it after having like her husband, her sister-in-law like work on it for like a solid weekend, and I just needed, after I saw it fully done, I was like, okay, and framed, I was like, okay, I need to do mine. So yeah, when Sam was on his work trip, I just had a lot of, solo time. And so I just decided to take some of that and like pour it into this puzzle. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so proud of it. I did it in like record time. It feels like I was a pro. I had like all different boxes and like sorted all the pieces and the shapes because there's a lot of monochromatic colors if you can't tell. Like each one of these boxes is just black. They were just black pieces. And I was just like, what am I supposed to do? So I searched on YouTube like puzzle, like pro puzzle tips and like puzzle hacks, and so did all that, finished this. And it's not a typical like normal framing size because they're just puzzles, they're not made to be framed, but the puzzle itself is 25 by 25 puzzle. So what I ended up doing, and I've done this to a different puzzle that I have hanging in my home, but what I do is I flip the puzzle over once it's done. I tape the back. I just use like packaging tape. I just tape the back so everything's like is going to stay put. You don't need glue or anything. And then I find a frame that's like relatively the same size, but the actual like opening for the artwork where you need to hang it or put it in is a little smaller. So what I do is I just take like heavy duty scissors, and I just trim around the puzzle just so it fits. I think for this one I had to trim about a 1/2 inch all around, but it wasn't that big a deal. And then you can hang it, and it's great, and I love it, and it's definitely going to continue to sit in the background of my videos because I'm very proud of it, and that counts as a finished object. Okay, that's it. Back to normal scheduled programming. those are the finished objects. I'll go into WIPs, works in progress next. So let me just do some quick mentions for projects I don't want to show you because I haven't made that much progress on. Still working through the Northland Sweater for my husband. I think I might bring that with me as like airplane travel knitting for Thanksgiving just because I'm so close to finishing. Like, I just need to do endless stockinette in the round for the body and then tackle the sleeve. So that's something that I feel like is good for airplane knitting or just like home, like traveling away from home knitting. You know what I'm saying? And then I have an updated plan for the quilt cushion. So I still haven't started the backing of the Stella quilt cushion. And I still plan to do a zipper, insert a zipper once everything is done, just for easy access and like easy cleaning. However, instead of doing a plain backing, I think what I'm going to do is, so there's two motifs that come with the Stella quilt cushion. I did like the star motif, but there's like another cute one that's, I think looks really nice when it's just like monochrome with one contrast color and then the rest of it is white. I'm going to do that, but I haven't started it yet because I would really love to get a single skein of like a special solid sock yarn to use for that. So I'm kind of waiting. Maybe I'll get something on my travels. Unfortunately, nothing I've got recently kind of fits the bill. Yeah, so I'm just gonna wait, just so like I can hold a lot of memories in that pillow. But yeah, so that's the plan for that. Now getting into WIPs I can show you. The first one was a finished object for like a hot second earlier this week, and then I wanted to make modifications, so I frogged back some of it, and I'll show you now, and I'll tell you what it is. But I've done another Frankenstein sweater. I have a red one that I completed last month, I think, and I love it. I would wear it way more if it wasn't like a bright red color. I just wish it was like a more neutral color, so I decided to make a neutral colored, similarly crafted neutral Frankenstein sweater. Now, okay, let me just tell you some of the deets about this. I am using Cascade Cantata yarn, which is a new to me yarn. It is a blown cotton chainette tube yarn that is blown in with superwash merino fibers. It is 70% cotton, 30% superwash merino wool. The color that I am using is called Mouse, but the number is 39. And it's very light and airy, and there are like decent reviews on this yarn, at least on Ravelry. Like the comments that I read on Ravelry for this yarn are decent. The only big kind of like gripe I feel like people have with it is either that there are sometimes there's multiple knots in one skein, and because it's like a blown chainette yarn, you can't really like felt it back together, so you kind of just have to deal with more ends if there are knots, or deal with knots in your knitting. So that's one gripe. The other gripe that I've seen is that sometimes just like the nature of these types of yarns mean that they tend to pill pretty easily and look kind of ratty over time with wear. So yeah, that has yet to be foreseen just because I haven't worn this all that much. But let me show you what I have so far and pull it up for you. So it is the same construction as my last Frankenstein sweater, meaning that it is a top-down raglan sweater. I started by doing the same like 2x2 ribbing for the neckline, starting with a few rows of stockinette. Again, my Ravelry page for this is like fully decked out with all the details. And instead of doing the normal like kind of ribbed 2x2 ribbed raglan detail, I decided to pare it back and keep it super simple and just make it a 2-stitch raglan all the way down. So that's kind of something that's different. Another thing that kind of tripped me up about using this yarn for this project specifically is that because it's like basically a cotton yarn, I wasn't sure how big or small to make it, because when I knit with wool, or when I knit my last Frankenstein sweater just with the Patton's Classic wool worsted yarn, which is just 100% non-superwash wool, I kind of knew it would grow, so I like knit it like slightly smaller, or like not as long as I knew I wanted the finished product to be. And then, but with cotton, I haven't really knit that much with cotton, like straight cotton, or like a mainly cotton yarn, and so I wasn't sure. I've heard like multiple things about how cotton blocks, like it shrinks when it blocks, but it also like grows over time with wear, which like I know that. But also this isn't like a normal cotton yarn because it's like a very light, airy yarn that's blown in with wool. So I was like, does that like, is that going to impact a bunch of things? So basically I erred on knitting too long of a raglan, like too deep of a raglan. So my raglan is like maybe 2 to 4 more increases larger than my red Frankenstein sweater. So that's kind of one change. So that kind of adjusted how the rest of the sweater worked. And then my sleeves, because of that, were also very wide. So I had to work in quite a lot of decreases, which I think turned out nice for the most part. And then my body was really wide, and so I ended up, decreasing that a bit too, which I had planned for. I was also like on a roll knitting this, and I started it on like November 12th, and I initially cast it off on the 17th because I was like basically done. The sleeves were done, the body was done. I think I was also just like eager to be done and like wear it. And so I bound it off, blocked it, did the whole went the whole 9 yards or whatever, and the proportions were just wrong. Like, it was just too cropped proportionally. I think because I had made the raglan a bit deeper, it just made the sweater look like more cropped than it actually was. And it just didn't work. Like on me, I feel like I need things to kind of be a little bit longer sometimes because I am such a petite, like short person, short-limbed, short person, that sometimes I need to look a little, I don't know. This makes sense in my head, but like how it was wearing on me, I feel like it made me look shorter. I just didn't like the way it looked. Let's just leave it at that. The proportions are wrong for what I had in my mind. I wanted a similar fit to my red Frankenstein sweater. So I like posted about it on Instagram. I was like, what do I do? I think I'm gonna like pull it out and do sweater surgery or do something because it's too short. And then a few people commented and were like, wait, don't do that yet. It may grow because it's cotton. And so that stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, okay, Mariel, like take a beat. Let's sleep on it. And so I decided to like sleep on it and also like wear it without weaving any of the ends in or anything. Just like wear it throughout the next day. And like a few days later, I just decided to pull out the tubular bind off, which actually wasn't that bad. Yeah, I like got into a rhythm of it and it was like not that bad. So I undid that, lengthened the body about like 10, 11 rows. So maybe like 2 inches worth. And then I'm about to prep the ribbing for the tubular bind off. So I'm converting the 2x2 to a 1x1 by doing like a mini cable. There's an Andrea Mowry tutorial that I follow to do this every time. So I'm getting ready to do that. And I think it's like really not that big of a difference, but I think to me it will make a very big difference. Yeah, I'll show you what this looks like once it's done, but I'll just hold it up for you. But overall the yarn itself is nice. It's felt very light wearing it. I bought 5 balls of this yarn, which is actually, the yarn itself is pretty economical, I feel like. So for 100 grams, which is also nice. I feel like sometimes yarns like this only come in like 50-gram balls. And they sell it on Wool and Company if you're in the US, which is amazing. They have so many colors. 100 gram skein is $10 a skein. And they have a lot. Lots of colors. The core, though, is it is a white cotton core, though. So the darker colors definitely will appear more heathered, but they have some really pretty like blues and pinks. I almost got antique moss and cactus, like a green, but just decided to go the neutral because I knew that would be more wearable up front. I almost also just got like a lighter silver gray, but yeah, that's the sweater. You can kind of see the line where it stops from being the blocked fabric to being newly, knitted fabric with squiggly yarn. But yeah, looking at this more now, yeah, I do want the ribbing on the cuffs to be like an inch longer. Yeah, but I also might want to add more length to the sleeves themselves, like just the stockinette portion. But I think I'll add the ribbing, length to the ribbing first, and then we'll kind of revisit and see what it looks like, especially with some wear and having it grow a little bit. So that's that for the Gray Frankenstein, which is like, that's been like my main whip this last like few weeks. I've just been wanting to get it like done and dusted and wear it. I really want to wear it. Okay. The next whip that I have, I think this is just the final whip. I feel like I had more. Maybe it's just like I have so many whips that are kind of like languishing-ish. This isn't a bowl. This isn't a salad bowl. This I'm a frog. This is a sweater mod that I am doing to modify a sweater into a cardigan. I was inspired by Pauline's Creative Corner, I think, on Instagram, who did this modification to the Lyon sweater by Petite Knit. She made hers into a cardigan, and it looks so good, and it reminded me of this cardigan that Rhiannon and Ashley here on YouTube, that she wore in one of her vlogs, which is an And Other Stories cardigan. I went down this whole rabbit hole. It like reminded me of this cardigan. I had some stash yarn that I thought would be perfect, but I'm running into a couple issues. So the first one was there was a different Instagram saga that I went through where there was pooling in the yarn, and it was so clear for me to see, but basically everyone on Instagram was like, I don't see anything, like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm just being dramatic. Second of all, I just don't have enough yarn. And I knew I was going to be playing yarn chicken, but I just definitely don't have enough yarn. So now we're at the point where it's like, okay, do I go down the rabbit hole of like tracking down the same dye lot? Because I've already run into issues with pooling in this yarn. I also got this yarn from Etsy like 6 to 7 months ago, maybe even longer. So I'm like, I just don't want to deal with it. So long story long, actually. I think I'm going to frog this, but I do want to revisit the idea of modifying this sweater pattern into a cardigan and using a different yarn and trying steeking for the first time, because right now I'm just knitting it flat because I didn't want to like waste any yarn within the steeking stitches, because I was like, I don't have the luxury of doing that because I'm playing yarn chicken. But now that it's just not going to work out overall, I will modify this again, but I'll just add some steek stitches and just steek and add a button band that way, and I'm excited to try that out. But that is a project for future Mariel to have fun with and enjoy, hopefully a lot more later down the line. I'll show you what I have so far, though. It's actually a really pretty fabric. I'm holding Mondim from Retrosaria Pomar alongside this mohair, the aerial mohair from Barocco. They're lace weight mohair that I've had in my stash for like over a year now. I'll just show you the fabric. One of my friends, She was like, it looks like red bean paste. I was like, you're right. Or like red bean. I was like, yeah, you're kind of right, because the mohair that I am using it's gray, but it kind of leans a little purpley. Yeah, or like a little more warm toned. And then the Mondim has like kind of a nice beigey tone to it. So when it's held together, it's quite nice. It's like a nice diffused look. I'm actually still on the fence about frogging this. It is really pretty, so maybe I should track down some Mondim. I don't know. It is really pretty, and the pooling isn't that bad. It's just the nature of the yarn. Oy, okay, well, so we'll see what happens to this whip. We'll see. But that's it for whips that I am aware about, or that I know I'm going to do something about at some point. Okay, acquisitions. This is a big section, and I just have nothing to say as an excuse. The bulk of what I'm about to show you is just me lacking self-control. So, let me pull this box closer. I'll show you the yarns that my husband got for me. He recently went on a work trip to Poland and was in Poland. I will put the name of the yarn store that he was able to go to. I told him, like, honestly, no pressure, but if you find yourself near a yarn store and if you want to go in and have time, can't go wrong with getting me some sock yarn. So he ended up finding some Lana Grossa sock yarn, which is nice because I know I can't always access that brand, the German brand, I think, here where in the States where I live. So he got me the Maize Merino hand-dyed in the colors Anouge. This one's definitely my favorite. He got me 2 skeins, 100-gram skeins. These are 80/20 superwash merino and nylon. So this one's a beautiful, like, deep navy grays that goes into some pinks and yellows and greens. Really, really pretty. These colors are definitely my vibe for, like, variegated yarns. My plan for this is to make a fun muscle burra with this skein. So that's my plan for this. That'll be nice. And then this is the other skein. I forgot to bring the tag because it came off, but this is the other skein he got me. This one is definitely wouldn't have been my first choice. And I'm actually thinking of re-dyeing the purple bit a little bit, like over-dyeing it to more of a navy color, because then I think it might be more useful to me, at least in the form of socks. I don't know, something with the purple just throwing me off. But, I mean, the yarn itself is very nice. This one has some speckling too. Yeah, this one is less my vibe. But I am thankful that he thought of me and, you know, made it a point to go find some yarn, hunt for some yarn for me. So thank you, Samuel. I'll then next get into the gift knit. So I don't think I'm spoiling it because I don't think my father-in-law or any of my in-laws really watch my videos that much in detail, if at all, which is fine. But my father-in-law's birthday's coming up, and it's a very big birthday, so we want to make sure we're giving him something special. And since they live in Michigan, they got them cold winters, and yeah, just got to stay warm. So I saw this hat on Ravelry, and thought it was really, like, cute little Fair Isle color worky vibe, and decided to kind of copy that in terms of, like, the color choice a little bit, not exactly, and make him a hat. So I got some credits. So I got 2 balls of Sandnesgarn Sunday, which is a fingering weight merino wool. The color is 1042. It's just a really nice, like, basic heather gray. And since it's merino, I think it'll be great for a hat. So I'm going to use this as the main color. This will be like on the brim and against his skin. So I think that'll be fine. So I got 2 balls of Sunday. I got for the light contrast color, like the lightest one, I'm getting Tin Peer Gynt, which is their 100% Norwegian wool. And I only need a little bit of this, but I got the color 2641. Just a nice, like, off-white, kind of natural heathery color. And finally, for the darkest color, I got this, like, really deep, dark black with flecks of light gray. Also Tin Peer Gynt in the color 1088. This one's really pretty. I also won't need that much of this, but I think it'll stand out really nicely against the yarns. And this is a stash yarn, but I have this leftover cashmere from a Sophie scarf that I made my mom last year for the holidays. Yeah, and it's just like really pretty kind of periwinkle blue color. And I think it's probably more on like, it's like more of a sport weight, but it'll be nice because I want it to stand out anyway. And so let me show you all together. But that is the gift knit acquisitions. I'm really excited. I think I might have enough to make more than one hat too. Let me pull out the things that I got. Some of these are for gift knits too. Some, but most of it's for me. Most of it is for me. Okay, so Knit Picks was having a massive sale a few weeks ago, and I was fully enabled by Erica from Erica Taylor Creative. So yeah, we both made yarn orders, but I needed to order yarn for a few other gift knits for my immediate family and figured it was the perfect excuse to order some things. So I'll show you those first. All of this yarn that I'm using for gift knits is the Knit Picks Capra yarn, which is a DK weight merino wool and cashmere blend. I got the colors Astra, which is this like really deep like blue, almost purple yarn. Depending on the light, it looks purple or blue. I may end up holding this with a alpaca or mohair that is more blue, just so it like always leans more blue, but I thought this would be really pretty as a scarf. I'm basically going to make scarves out of all of these. I also got the color Eclipse Heather. I got 2 balls of this. I got 4 of the blue, purple Astra color, but I got 2 of this. This one will be a scarf for my middle sister. I'm going to make an easy peasy bandana, just a really simple like triangle scarf. And then I got this color Hollyberry, which is a really beautiful, deep, like a cranberry red. I may make a scarf for myself, or we'll see. I have 2 balls of this, 2 balls of this, 4 balls of this. So this might be a hat as well as a scarf. We'll see. So those are the like giftish knit yarns. The final acquisitions I got 2 of each of these balls. So Knit Picks was having like a $2 for $6 sale where a lot of their yarns were either $2, $4, or $6. So I don't fully remember the price of all these, but okay, let me just give you my vision first for getting these yarns. I'm seeing across all the like, you know, stylish Scandi girls, fashion girlies, like the variegated, stripy, scrappy looking sweaters, and I want one. I'll show you kind of the vision of like what I've been wanting to make, and like getting yarns that can mimic that, like Laying Cloud or like other color changing yarns, are normally kind of expensive. But Knit Picks was having the sale, and I saw that their chroma worsted yarn was on sale. And so I, like, with Erica on the phone, I literally was like, help me decide the colors. So thank you, Erica. She helped me pick out these 3 colorways to work together into into one of these like really cute sweaters or cardigans. I have yet to pick a pattern, but yeah, this will definitely be something I work on. Probably not till the new year because there's just a lot of like holiday knitting to be done. But let me show you the colors I got. This is a 70% superwash, 30% nylon wool. You can machine wash it, which I just realized. That's pretty cool. Each of these balls is 100 grams, 198 yards per 100 grams. And this is the Knit Picks Chroma worsted weight. So this Fiona colorway is brown, a mix of brown, this like dusty purple color, yellow, and green. And so I was like, okay, I feel like I'm getting a vibe here. So had that. And then I was like, I feel like I need some like pinky colors. So that's where Painted Desert comes in. And Painted Desert is basically just like a mix of pinks and some deeper oranges and yellows. I think it might go a little deeper, but yeah. So this is Painted Desert. And then I was like, okay, I feel like one more colorway could really round this out. And if I like kind of change the colors or knit a little like in stripes or something, reindeer moss could definitely help even out some of the pinks and yellows and oranges. So this one is like definitely like more muted mossy colors. There's a little bit of like mint here too, which is nice, kind of a bluer toned green. And so altogether, I feel like they make a really pretty mix and cohesive blend color palette. Let me hold them all together so you can see it better. There's definitely not as much like blue as I initially would have thought I might have, but I kind of like this blend. But yeah, I got 2 of each of these balls just to be safe. It is like a single ply yarn, so I think the texture will be kind of, it'll have that like super washy texture when I knit it up, but honestly, I don't really mind. I think the color variation is something that I just wanted enough of. Or I'll just hold like a mohair or something with all this. Or an alpaca. Probably not, but that's always an option. So yes. These are the yarns that I've acquired, but I have plans for most of them. So does that make it okay? Not really, but this is my hobby and where I've decided to spend a lot of my money. So yeah. I do have some like random media favorites that I did want to give a shout out to. YouTubers wise, I'm still loving Caroline McQuiston. I will like save her videos to watch for like when I just need, they're a treat. So I save them and I watch them when I'm like ready to watch them and want to watch them like undisturbed. I also really love Rosa Dell's YouTube channel. She doesn't post all that frequently, but she'll do like thrift hauls. She has this really cute like coastal cottage. I think she's also based in the Bay Area or like a little south of the Bay Area and like the Monterey area maybe. Super cute home decor, definitely my vibe. Yeah, highly recommend her for like interiors, inspiration if you're a coastal cottage, if you vibe with that. I've recently like rediscovered, I've been subscribed, I think, to Svenja Knits on YouTube for a while, but I like recently rediscovered her channel, so I've been watching some of the backlog there. She's expecting a little baby, which is so sweet. And she's been making some really cute things, and some really nice cabled projects. So I've been watching her videos a little bit more. And then like regular media wise, TV shows wise, I binged Dairy Girls in like a week probably. So good. So good and informational, but so good. Please go watch Dairy Girls. And then because of Dairy Girls, I watched the Decameron, which has Saoirse Monica Jackson in it, and I love her. So watch the Decameron. It's dark comedy, definitely not child appropriate, but it was an entertaining watch. And then been rewatching reruns of Reba on Netflix while I knit, which has been very nice and very like comforting. I used to watch that show a lot as a kid. And so, yeah, been rewatching Reba. And let's see if there's anything else. I don't play video games, but I have also been watching the Arcane show on Netflix. My husband is more acquainted with that realm, and he initially told me about the show. And then I had a friend of a friend also tell me about the show, and I was, if you can't tell, I'm like a big TV like watcher. So I figured I'd watch it, and it's very good. You don't have to know anything about like the League of Legends world or anything. Like it's just good storytelling, good character development, good action, good animation. Like everything is beautiful. If you've watched the animated Spider-Man movies, like Into the Spider-Verse movies, it kind of gives similar vibes sometimes. Like it's very emotional. It's just good. It's a good show. Oh, and the rest of the episodes just came out today for season 2. I just remembered. I'm excited now. Okay. So, yeah, that's it. I hope to talk to you soon. I definitely have a lot of knitting ahead of me and lots of things I want to continue to update you on. So thank you again for being here. Thank you for watching, and please let me know what you're knitting. If you're gift knitting, it's not for all of us, but if you are gift knitting or just knitting anything, let me know what you're working on or what you're like inspired to work on next. And yeah, that's it. Okay, I'm gonna go watch Arcane. I'll see you next time. Bye.